Look, I know you're looking for Metroidvania games because playing them is cool and everyone is doing it, but don't do it because it's trendy. Do it because you actually enjoy it. So here are a few Metroidvanias that I think might be right for you. Not my favorites of all time, but I think these are well made and that's a reason enough to give them a chance. Not everything needs to have the success of Hollow Knight. I'm not saying they'll change your life, I'm saying they are well made. Again, I said it for the second time. I should do a better script. And in the current landscape, that's not a given. Possessors is made by Hurt Machine, the same people behind Hyper Light Drifter. As an indie game, Hyper Light Drifter was an incredible success. This one, much less, and I think that's unfair because it's a well-made game. The game puts you in the shoes of Luca, a girl, and Rem, a presence living inside her who is not particularly thrilled about the situation. The two of them have to learn to coexist, which is already a fairly interesting premise for a Metroidvania. You explore a megacity destroyed by an interdimensional catastrophe. It's all very beautiful and melancholic at the same time. Possessors has fast, reactive combat that feels like those platform fighters. I love when a game's controls are this responsive. I love when I switch between keyboard and controller and the game detects it automatically. And I love hitting enemies left and right. I loved the rope that pulls enemies toward you. That rope is one of the best things I've tried. There's something deeply satisfying about pulling an enemy toward you and then filling it with attacks. What I hated was the checkpoint system. You die and sometimes you have to retrace a section you've already cleared, reach the same enemy that killed you, and die again. It's not a new problem, it's one of the oldest problems in the genre, but it doesn't stop being annoying, and in a game where movement feels this precise and satisfying, every moment where they are not letting you move is a waste at the moment. The game is enormous though, not just in length, though it is long. In the sense that there's always something to explore, always a passage you hadn't noticed. That feeling when you're convinced the next attempt is the definitive one. The one where you finally understand the pattern, finally use the right tools. And then you die anyway. But you try again. It's genuinely hard to stop playing because you're always convinced the next round is the one. I don't know how many copies it sold, but what I know is that I heard about it much less than I expected, especially considering who made it. This one, my friends, is a fantastic game. I don't know how else to describe it. It grabs you immediately and it's completely different from everything else. The controls and movement are completely different because you are the monster, so there are no classic jumps. You grab onto walls and above all you kill and eat anyone who gets in your way. Carrion is a game where you literally are a mass of tentacles and teeth moving through a military facility eating people. The so-called good guys are the ones running from you. It's developed by Phobia Game Studio and published by Devolver Digital. Devolver is good at one thing: picking strange games and giving them visibility. That's probably the main reason Carrion got the reception it got. Not that it didn't deserve it, but if it had launched with a different publisher or no publisher, we'd probably be talking about a much more obscure game. As I said, the movement is unlike anything else in this game. You don't jump, you don't have legs, you grab onto surfaces, expand, compress yourself to pass through vents and grates. You grow as you absorb biomass, and when you're large, you become slow and powerful and a little terrifying. You can shrink to pass through tight corridors, but you lose power. Stunning. There's no visible health bar in the traditional sense. You see it in the size of the creature. The smaller you are, the less health you have. That kind of design decision, choosing to show information through the visual instead of through an interface, sounds simple but requires a lot of trust that the player will understand. And I'll say it again, it's a sensational game, one of the best ever made for me. They chose to do one thing and they did it well. Nine Souls always get pitched as the Hollow Knight alternative. Finished Hollow Knight and want more? Play this. That's the pitch, and it's an honest pitch, but it's also a bit reductive, because Nine Souls does some things Hollow Knight doesn't, and some of those things are objectively better. It's made by Red Candle Games, a studio from Taiwan that previously made Detention and Devotion, two psychological horror games. The art style has a level of care that is definitely better than Hollow Knight. The setting blends cyberpunk with Taoist mythology and Asian sci-fi references. Stunning. They call this aesthetic Taopunk. Did it hit me the way Carrion did? No. There was a moment in Nine Souls where I stopped playing because I had the feeling I'd been hitting the same wall for hours. Hollow Knight has that game feel, that precise sense of how much the character wakes, how much breath there is before and after an attack, that keeps you locked in even when you're losing. Nine Souls is close, but it's not the same. I can't tell you exactly why, but I didn't have the same feeling. It's still an excellent game, the kind of game I'm glad exists. One question stays with me though. How much of that game feel difference is a deliberate stylistic choice, and how much of it is just hard to replicate? Because Hollow Knight seemed to arrive at it almost by accident, or at least that's how it appears, and everything that comes after it is chasing something without quite understanding what it was chasing. This game is a hidden gem that hasn't come out yet. It's supposed to release this year, but nothing is confirmed. You are a small bird named Glimmer. You have a matchstick. You need to burn an evil queen to save your family. The art style is different from modern Metroidvania, not pixel art, not the hand-drawn style of Nine Souls. Something more illustrative, closer to children's picture book, but with an underlying darkness that is not for children. It's the kind of aesthetic you don't often see in this genre. From the demo, the difficulty seems lower than the other game I've talked about today. I don't know if that will hold in the final version. Demos are often calibrated to be accessible, but if it does, if Well Dweller deliberately chooses to be a softer Metroidvania, that's an interesting choice in a genre that sometimes seems to be competing for who can make the player cry the most. Put it on your wishlist, not because I'm sure it will be great, but I want to bet on it. Let me know which one you decide to play, or if you've already played any of them, tell me which one you like the most. And remember to subscribe, so I have one more reason to keep talking about indie games. Thanks for watching.